Prime Minister says confrontation could have been avoided. National Security Committee gets full brief on events. United Nations leads condemnation of shootings.
This is National EMTV News with Miriba Tulo.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us for Thursday's news. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill has expressed his sympathy for the University of Papua New Guinea students that were injured yesterday. In a media conference this afternoon, Mr. O'Neill said the shootings were not the intent of the government and has urged all students at UPNG to stop their boycott and resume classes. Mr. O'Neill further stated the shootings are now before the police for investigations, including a commission of inquiry to look into the matter.
The Prime Minister made his first appearance to the media this afternoon to talk about the shootings at UPNG yesterday.
Express our sympathies to the students and some members of the public who received injuries at the confrontation between the police and, of course, some of our students yesterday at the University of Papua New Guinea.
He further mentioned the confrontation yesterday could have easily been avoided, saying it was unnecessary. He described the incident as regrettable and the government had no intent to cause such an uprising.
It could have been handled a bit better by, of course, not allowing these sort of confrontations to take place. Since the concerns of the students were raised to government, government has responded in a responsible manner, in a very detailed manner to the students.
On issues that are before him, the Prime Minister had this to say.
I do not need to repeat myself. I cannot give you any more answers that you don't already know. That is that I'm always available for any government agency, including police, for interviews or statements in regarding any investigation that they may have before them. I've stated that in Parliament yesterday, and that is the standing that it is today.
The Prime Minister also mentioned the government will work with the university's administration to see that the 2016 academic year is not cancelled.
We will continue to work with the university administration to save this semester and ensure that the academic year for 2016 is not cancelled. And we urge all parents to urge their students and their children to take heed of the advice of the university administration and, of course, get their kids back into classes.
Stanley Over Jr., National EMTV News.
The first meeting of the National Security Advisory Committee was held this morning to deliberate on the situation that unfolded yesterday at the University of Papua New Guinea. The Advisory Committee's role is to advise the National Security Council, whose chairman is the Prime Minister. In a media conference following that meeting, Chief Secretary to Government Isaac Lupari said the committee was given a full update by the Vice Chancellor of the University of Papua New Guinea, Professor Albert Melam, and the Police Commissioner Gary Baki.
Mr. Lupari said the NEC has directed the establishment of a commission of inquiry which will be announced soon once terms of reference have been set and a decision made on who will conduct the investigating. The inquiry will investigate the conduct of the SRC president and members, students, the UPNG administration, the police, unions, national leaders and the media.
We were also directed by the cabinet to now establish an inquiry into the whole thing that happened, how it unfolded. And the inquiry will be looking into all aspects of the event.
Mr. Lupari said the key issue was getting the university students back to school and protecting their right to education. He was told by Vice Chancellor Melam that the boycott of classes was illegal from day one and the conduct of protesting students affected the liberty of others who wished to continue studies.
So we're calling upon the students to know that their right to education is paramount to them. And the issues that they've raised over the last 6 weeks has been responded to by the government. And we have also seen debates in Parliament over these issues.
Mr. Baki said the situations that arose in other parts of the country were in direct response to what was being posted and shared on social media.
In other parts of the country, there is no major incident apart from what has been reported in Mount Hagen, which is attributed to, I can comfortably say, is a result of what has been projected in the social media, the misreporting in the social media.
Secretary for the Department of Personnel Management, John Cully, said any public service union member involved in inciting public servants to support the protesting students will be disciplined.
For those union leaders who have become aware, who have been inciting some of the public servants or support of students, the departmental heads concerned have been informed, and necessary disciplinary action will be taken against those people, because in the normal course of their duties, they're supposed to be maintaining service to the public and not be engaging in anything that is going to disrupt services to the public.
Secretary for the Department of Foreign Affairs, William Dim, said it will deal with any foreign news agencies and governments that reported recklessly on the situation that happened yesterday.
And so my follow-up as a result of this meeting held this morning will be mainly towards foreign media and also some foreign governments who we believe have reported the incidents here in Papua New Guinea from their foreign eyes, from their perspective. And in some aspects, for example, the death of students, they were very quick to report that and not other aspects of what government was trying to do yesterday in a challenging time. And so we've assessed this morning that some of those reportings were intentionally reckless. And therefore we will have to speak to people who have reported in such a manner, and so that either they make an apology to the nation and the government for how they have reported yesterday, or perhaps their visa status in this country may need to be looked at again.
Mr. Lupari also said investigations will find out who is providing funding for some of the activities of the protest. Deli Waigeno, National EMTV News.
Following claims on social media that security firm Black Swan International was owned by Prime Minister Peter O'Neill, the firm's chief executive officer and sole owner, Brian Kelly, came forward and publicly announced that he was the sole owner. Kelly's comments came after Facebook users posted threats online to burn down the firm's headquarters in Port Moresby. Kelly described the claims posted on social media as malicious and false.
I own Black Swan International. I have done so for many years. I am the sole shareholder. We currently employ approximately 1,700 people. We operate throughout all of PNG, and certain people in social media who would like to see Black Swan fail unfortunately are spreading these terrible rumours associating us with various government officials. I will say clearly now for the record that Black Swan International is 100% owned by myself. Black Swan International is a PNG registered business. We comply to all PNG regulations and laws, and at no time have we ever been linked or owned by any PNG government officials.
The University of Papua New Guinea Council has announced that classes will resume next week as planned. They said what happened yesterday was an act of students wanting to protest, which was stopped by police. The UPNG Council made it clear to the media this afternoon that it does not condemn the actions of the police.
UPNG Council today reaffirmed the decision for classes to resume at the main campus next Tuesday.
14th of June, as planned. The management and the academic staff are ready to let that roll. The School of Medicine and Health Sciences had resumed classes on the 6th of June, and they are going full steam. The students at the School of Medicine and Health Sciences did not join the students here on Wednesday. So
They say the court order taken to restrain the SRC from not allowing students to attend class was successful, and they want to see normalcy return to the campus.
Is a bit more authority, meaning that in the last 5 weeks of boycotting, some students have gone around intimidating, harassing, intimidating staff and students, and also barricading and causing illegal activities within the campus. Council has agreed or has given consent for court order to be taken to prevent any intimidation on campus.
The UPNG Council said the situation which transpired yesterday was because students went out of the university area and police acted within the law.
Speculation. I'm sure police would be able to answer why they did, or what they'd be able to explain why they did what they did. I'm sure they're able to explain that. Now, at the end of the whole thing, there will be, I guess, investigations.
EMTV asked if the council would condemn the action of the police, but the council was adamant that police action was for the RPNG to explain and not for the council to condemn.
They can explain. And whatever we did it to the best interest of the students. That's what I can say. You know, I mean, I know where you're coming from. You want to say, oh, university condemning the police. No. Whatever they did, whether good or bad, it's up to police to explain.
Adelaide Sirrox, Kari National, EMTV News.
The United Nations General Secretary Ban Ki-moon has joined in condemning the shooting of student protesters by police yesterday. In a statement released today, Moon's spokesperson said the UN Secretary General calls for calm and the right for peaceful protest and assembly. Moon's statement is part of a number of calls by organizations in the country and abroad who are condemning the use of live ammunition against unarmed student protesters.
This morning, the Catholic Bishops' Conference General Secretary Father Victor Roach told a media conference that the shooting is uncalled for and better peaceful means should be sought to resolve political issues in the country.
I think as Melanesians, it's good that we sit down also, that amicably we can sit down and tackle the issues. And the Catholic Church is ready to mediate this issue, because I think it has gone a little too far. It has gone out of control, and I don't know why in our own country that armed forces should shoot our own citizens.
Transparency International Chairman Lawrence Stevens said TIPNG sees this illegal use of firearms by the police as a downward spiral in PNG society into a police state.
The behaviour of the police, from the reports we have so far, are just shocking. It is not in any way conceivable that we should be sending heavily armed policemen into a situation like that.
A sentiment that was also shared by the Media Council of PNG.
That, there was no need for violence, there was no need for shooting, because these are unarmed demonstrators. There was no signs of them, using arms of any sort. It was a peaceful protest march. Now, we hope the police commissioner can be able to get down to the bottom of the issue and identify those officers who actually pulled the trigger to result in those injuries.
From the international community, apart from the United Nations, the Human Rights Watch not only condemned the shooting but also the way the Prime Minister responded to the issue in his official statement. Phil Robertson, Deputy Asia Director of HRW, said in their statement that there needs to be an independent and transparent investigation into the firing of live ammunition by the police into crowds of student protesters. The Human Rights Watch reminded PNG of its obligation to the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights, where PNG has an international legal obligation to respect the rights to life, bodily integrity and security, as well as the right to protest and investigate all potential violations. What they also found unacceptable was what they say was the focus of the Prime Minister's official statement yesterday following the incident. Robertson said the Prime Minister's announcement focused unduly on the student protest and failed to recognize the need for an investigation into the use of force and firearms by police. A one-sided government investigation to hunt for alleged instigators among the students is simply unacceptable. However, Police Commissioner Gary Baki said the police will be investigating the shooting.
If there are students injured and there is a requirement, the police has a process that is involved in any incident that results injuries that may be sustained, which is we conduct our own investigations. All right, people are always being very critical about police investigations, but it's a process that we have to go through.
Stevens said along with the investigations, these steps must be immediately put into place.
Step one, I would hope they would cease putting weapons in the hands of people who are supposedly doing civil duties. You should not have high-powered weapons being carried around like biros. Instead of simply talking about yet another inquiry into what happened at the university, let's hear a promise. The inquiries that have been held into finance, into special purpose business and agriculture leases, into firearms, it will, under the watch of this government, be implemented, not brushed aside.
Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
While condemning the shooting, TIPNG and the Catholic Bishops' Conference also said issues of corruption in the country need to be better handled to avoid such incidents in the future.
One of the things that upsets people is when they see what appear to be legal tricks being used to avoid getting into the issue. And the issue is the theft of public funds, reports of corruption.
CBC General Secretary Father Victor Roach said there should be a bigger political will to eradicate corruption in the country.
We see that the underlying the issue based on all these is corruption. And Parliament should genuinely address this growing curse of corruption in our country. So we appeal that there should be a political will in order to avoid this kind of issues or political unrest, and all this should be solved amicably well. And I think that is the reason of this anger and unrest by the students and the wider population because of corruption.
Stevens says the issues that escalated yesterday is a build-up of unresolved corruption issues from years back.
None of us have handled it particularly well. The shameful thing that we all face is the reality that the students have had to come out to remind us of what our obligations are. We had a commission of inquiry in 2009 into finance. That named individuals who should by now have faced the courts, or at least been prosecuted in some manner. In fact, those same people are still featuring as if there was no blemish on their background, and we don't see any action being taken. The Prime Minister, the ministers, 111 members of Parliament and many, many public officials are being asked by the people to come clean on this and find out why all these things took place, why we lost all this money, and do something about it. Not simply brush it aside.
He adds that this situation now calls for the Prime Minister to become a hero for the people.
Funds of the people of Papua New Guinea have been stolen, and there are people who need to assist us get them back. My advice to the advisors to the Prime Minister would be, help him get on that page. Help him be a hero to the people, going after those who are known to have stolen the money.
Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
The annual Sir Anthony Siaguru Walk Against Corruption in Port Moresby will not go ahead as initially planned. It has been deferred to a later date following yesterday's confrontation between university students and police.
We have a large number of people who have volunteered to be part of it. We have a good number of sponsored teams. It looks like being a good event, so it's embarrassing to us to have to put it off, but many of the people who were planning to walk are concerned about the current situation and have suggested that we make it 1 week later. So out of respect for those wishes, we've agreed. The Sir Anthony Siagaru Walk Against Corruption will still be on, and it will still be carrying the same message that we've been carrying for the last 9 years. The people want to see change. Peaceful demonstration by people saying, we need to make this a better country, and we can do it by fighting corruption.
The Ombudsman Commission will conduct its own investigations into the shooting incident yesterday between police and UPNG students. The Ombudsman Commission announced in a media statement this afternoon. The basis of the investigation is to determine whether agents of government organizations committed any wrongdoing.
The Ombudsman Commission said the investigation will look into the actions taken yesterday if they were based on improper conduct of government agencies. They said that the investigation of wrong conduct is different from the leadership code roles. They added that all investigations by the Ombudsman Commission are conducted independently and with strict discretion. They are now urging the public to exercise restraint and allow for due process of the law to determine the cause of the unrest. They further added that through the investigation, they will make recommendations in their report to ensure that such occurrences do not reoccur in the future. Marilyn Diaukatam, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to National EMTV News. Despite rumors that flights were suspended this morning, Air Niugini continued normal flight operations today. Most flights operated per schedule except for the cancellation of Mount Hagen's afternoon flights due to reports of civil unrest and closure of the airport by appropriate authorities. Some flights this morning were delayed as passengers and staff had difficulty getting to the airport on time due to yesterday's unrest. However, normal flight operations continued. Meanwhile, the National Airports Corporation also confirmed services are back at Mount Hagen Airport. The airport was closed this morning after NAC received information that the public and students were heading to the airport to cause destruction to infrastructure. NAC instituted security measures by engaging airport police and support from the landowners to control rowdy crowds. This prevented a potential risk that would have resulted in the destruction of airport infrastructure. The airport is now open after the NOTAM notice was downgraded to cautionary as the situation is now under control. Students at the University of Technology have released a formal statement today condemning the police shooting of students in Port Moresby yesterday. SRC President David Kelma said this has prompted the student body to extend protests through the existing boycott. The student body has also expressed anger over comments by Treasury Minister Patrick Pruich, who appeared to mock the student protests in Port Moresby.
Students gathered at 1 o'clock for a forum which had to be put off yesterday after tensions escalated. There was calm in the campus as student leaders expressed anger and condemned the actions of police yesterday in Port Moresby.
On behalf of UNITEC, on behalf of the SRC, and on behalf of the committee, and on behalf of more than 3,000 students on campus right now, we would like to strongly condemn the act of the police on UPNG students yesterday. That was very unbecoming of the police force.
Students have resolved to continue with the boycott. There is a court order that's been served to the UPNG students, but Unitec remains unaffected by that order. Yesterday, things were different. Stones were held at police who had come to remove a barricade. The situation was contained, but students continued to hurl stones. They later burned a water PNG vehicle parked inside the campus. Today, the SRC apologized to the company. It took joint efforts from the Vice-Chancellor, student leaders and police commanders to calm the situation. Later, police withdrew.
The response from some of the MPs there after the shooting, we see that I think the MPs there, they're not representing the interests of the people. When the people are suffering, when people are going through this, they should speak up if they represent, the interests of the people.
Shouting at each other, saying that who are they, or saying that they were provoked. This is so childish. And then you deliberately adjourn the parliament session to August 2. You actually saying you don't want to face this problem when it's still hot, and come and face the real reality and address the issue and let the floor of parliament go on and continue. Honest, decent conversation in the floor of parliament can continue when the issue is still hot.
The Unitec Vice Chancellor Dr. Albert Schramm this afternoon told MTV the results of today's forum have not yet been formally communicated to the Vice Chancellor's office. The administration had last week agreed to restructure classes after a request from the SRC. Things have quietened down here at Unitec, and apart from a continuation of the boycott, the SRC hasn't quite said what the next course of action is. In the highlands, the tensions are high, but how the police have handled the tensions both here in Lae and particularly in Simbu has been vastly different from how police handled it in Port Moresby. Scott Waide, National MTV News, Lae.
Lae police say they will continue to maintain good dialogue with the student leaders of the University of Technology until they find amicable solutions. Lae Metropolitan Superintendent Anthony Wagambi said police were at the university's gate to ensure protection of lives and properties. He said students at Unitec must not see Lae police as their enemies, as their presence is not to suppress or intimidate them.
Wagambi said Lae is a very unpredictable area, known for mass rioting and destruction when it comes to such instances. And if students were to lead such an unplanned and unsanctioned protest, this would lead to opportunists taking advantage.
As much as possible, we'd like to avoid opportunities from taking part in such activities, which may spoil the course of what they are trying to pursue.
Wagambi said police will not enter the campus unless called upon by the administration, and they must not destroy properties within the campus, as there are facilities there to serve them in their education. The Metropolitan Commander is appealing to the student leaders to take control over the student body.
But only if there's proper cooperation and dialogue between us and the student body, I'm all right.
Police will maintain a heavy presence in the coming days in the city to ensure that schools, shops and banks are kept open. Wagambi commended his personnel for exercising restraint while they were being stoned and sworn at by the disrupted students. There were also slingshots used to throw stones at police, but Lae police as much as possible tried to avoid any form of confrontation. Matalubis, National MTV News, Lae.
Students at the University of Natural Resources and Environment in East New Britain Province have expressed disappointment following yesterday's shooting. UNRE SRC President Scott Akena said students have been distressed following yesterday's incident between UPNG students and the police. Mr. Akena said lecture rooms have been half filled since yesterday, as some students are staying away from classes and following closely as the events unfold. UNRE has been part of the protest where students boycotted classes for at least 4 weeks. Town schools in Lae remain suspended today as part of cautionary measures following the student unrests. The Provincial Education Department made the decision to suspend classes.
The Provincial Education Office was expected to release an official circular to all schools in the city to suspend classes till next Tuesday. Along with the Grade 10's National Written Expression examinations held, all secondary schools have been told to hold classes for half a day today.
They stayed back and they sat on the exam. Unfortunately, the memo was supposed to go out yesterday afternoon did not reach especially secondary school, so they still continue with the normal classes. But for primary and elementary, they were text and they were suspended yesterday.
92 schools from elementary to vocational level are being affected by the suspension.
Because of the safety of the students and also teachers. And because of this strike is an ongoing thing. Parents also panic when they hear about the situation in Moresby. So most of the parents hold back their students. And head teachers are calling me that they have less number of students, so Classes were suspended yesterday and this morning.
Reports from the Highlands have also indicated several schools have been closed due to yesterday's unrest. Colin Barilai, National EMTV News, Leh.
A truck belonging to a Leh-based company was nearly set on fire this morning by members of the public in Simbu province. The company owner, Paul Depo Aikal, spoke to EMTV today after being informed of the incident that happened along the Simbu section of the Highlands Highway. Aikal said the public should refrain from damaging property belonging to private businesses who provide services. Cebu's Provincial Police Commander, Albert Belli, confirmed the incident and said police arrived in time to save the vehicle from being totally destroyed. Belli has also praised the Simbu people for being orderly in their conduct.
All news also. All look touch of Narble Cartu. But over the highway truck, where a PJB or Karam tin piece rice or suppose no what or highway go. And while I'm someone was sleeping nothing. No tin piece of Hogola also dream of chips or Kagam Banonga. So concern also, Laram Mukari stop, no one cooking more, no one party driver. Look at the Mukar, look at the driver. Sorry.
And now look at the finance news. The Kina opened unchanged at $0.3160 US in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina was buying $0.3085 US, $0.4090 Australian dollars, $0.2676 euro, and 32.75 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, copper closed lower, gold, coffee, and cocoa closed the day higher. Palm oil, crude oil, and copper closed the day higher. And on the stock markets, the Dow Jones closed at 66 points higher, the ASX closed 1 point lower, and the All Ordinaries closed 0.10 points higher. Among stories after the break, a princess from Africa sends her greetings to Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare. Stay tuned. Welcome back to National EMTV News. Lawyer Felix Kange's charge of manslaughter was today amended to murder after more evidence was provided. He appeared for mention at the Waigani Committal Court before Senior Magistrate Cosmas Bidar. Kange was first charged with manslaughter after he allegedly shot his wife last month.
Kange attended the court this morning on the charge of manslaughter. However, Magistrate Bidar adjourned the case to next Thursday for police to file the new charge and for a re-arrest to be made. Magistrate Bidar told Kange and his lawyer, Frederick Lunge, that the court is not in the position to prosecute today to allow police to change the charge in the right process. The charge has been amended to murder after police received some information on the alleged shooting. Meanwhile, Kange will remain at the Waigani police cell until his case returns to court next Thursday and further notice will be made. Kange, 39 years old, is the principal owner of Kange Lawyers. The alleged shooting of his wife took place at the family home on the night of May 14 in Port Moresby. On the summary of facts, the firearm accidentally went off and killed late Regina Morove. Kange's bail application on Monday at the National Court was rejected. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News.
A New Guinea's port manager in Buka, Hanegaro, has been promoted to head the company's office for the Momase region. General Manager for Customers and Markets, Dominic Kaumu, announced her appointment during the opening of Air New Guinea's sales office in Buka.
Air New Guinea has appointed Buka Port Manager Hanegaro to head the Momase as Regional Sales Manager. Mr. Kaumu made the announcement this week in Buka. Replacing Hanegaro is former Alatau Port Manager Joel Hiriets, who is an islander from Bougainville.
Now, lastly, we must talk thank you, Lohane. You've done a wonderful job. I'm very happy. All good things must come to an end.
Autonomous Bougainville Government Deputy Speaker Francisca Semoso thanked Mrs. Caro for her contribution to economic development in this challenging time when Bougainville has ended the civil war.
Less than a year for this to be realized. I think Air New Guinea looks at it like, hey, this is what a woman did in Bougainville, where everybody fears to come here because also to give me Karim Gandran. Yaman Blongol.
The outgoing Buka Port manager has strongly emphasized customer care has to be maintained in this challenging time, especially when the competition is tough. And the mindset of employees and the way business is conducted must be changed.
Culture change, meaning if all the old habits, bad old habits need to go, die out and change with the trend, because business today is really challenging. Yes, that is a big challenge, and I'm really happy to move.
Fabian Haklitz, National EMTV News.
A member of a royal family from Africa has sent her greetings to Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare and Lady Veronica. Princess Laila from the Ethiopian royal family said she met the Somare family back in the 1980s. Princess Laila spoke to EMTV journalist Fabian Haklitz in Guam during the 12th Festival of Pacific Arts, where she paid a courtesy call to the PNG delegation.
Papua New Guinea is blessed with loving and caring people and full of natural resources. This was from the Ethiopian Princess Laila.
God bless them with. Papua New Guinea is like Africa. I'm African. And you have the same thing that we have in Africa. It seems like a piece of Africa flew over there and came there. Because we are one people. You and I, we are one people. And I love you, all of you, very much.
One thing during our conversation that struck me was the genealogy she was speaking about. And this is history, like a jigsaw puzzle yet to be fully solved.
I feel very happy that you people are here because it reminds me and brings memory of my own people. Because we are all from the same country. Though you're Papua New Guinea, I'm African, but we all have one spirit together.
Her close relations to Papua New Guinea began when she came to know the Somare family during their first trip to Guam many years ago, and since then she had become a close family friend with the Somares.
I consider Sir Michael Somare and First Lady Veronica my family, and I love them very much and miss them there. I wish they had come this time to visit.
She also visited Papua New Guinea and not only enjoyed her stay, but loved the country and the people.
I came to Papua New Guinea and I came to Papua New Guinea and I really enjoyed it.
The Ethiopian princess brought gifts to the PNG delegates and also handed over a gift for Sir Michael and Lady Veronica Somare, and she had sent her warm greetings to the government of Papua New Guinea and the people. Fabian Haklitz, National EMTV News.
Trukai Sports is next. All the action from last night's OFC semi-final between PNG and Solomon Islands coming up.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. For the first time in 43 years, Papua New Guinea will appear in the OFC Nations Cup finals after beating Solomon Islands 2-1 in a thrilling semi-final encounter at Sir John Guy Stadium in Port Moresby last night. The competition hosts will take on four-time regional champions New Zealand in the final after the Kiwis squeezed past New Caledonia 1-0 in the first semi-final yesterday.
It was a thrilling 90 minutes for the home side in front of one of the largest crowds of the tournament to date, with fans not deterred by political events which had taken place earlier in the day.
For the final. Well, the local press have labelled this one the Battle of the Solomon Sea.
In their group matches, Papua New Guinea took the lead twice, but allowed their opponents to pull back in line, and the night seemed like that could be the case once again. A 38-minute strike from Michael Foster, who received the well-timed pass from Raymond Gunamba before rounding keeper Philip Mango, gave the couples the lead they were after. However, they soon allowed the Solomon Islands to pull themselves back into finals contention when Jude Monlea put the ball past Ronald Warrison directly from the corner.
with a piece of absolute brilliance.
The tension increased after the break as both sides continued to search for a winner, with quick counter-attacks taking play from end to end. Solomon Islands goalkeeper Philip Mango had a blinder, denying the impressive and relentless strike force of Gunemba, Foster, Nigel Debinyaba and Tommy Semi time and time again.
And Tommy Semi says, "Who me? Are you all right, Philip?"
However, despite Mangos being in form as ever, he couldn't hold Papua New Guinea off forever. And as the clock headed into the final 10 minutes of the match, Debinyaba punched on a loose ball to give his side the lead for a second time.
Post, Owen Comalong's there, great header, goal! Nigel Debinyaba has put Papua New Guinea 2-1 up.
This time the home side held to that one-goal advantage to see themselves through to final against New Zealand on Saturday at 4 p.m.
There it is! History made!
It will be telecast live on EMTV. Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports.
And we'll be back with more of Trukai Sports after these messages. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. Following the recent launch of the NRL Wellbeing Program at Waigani Primary School, PNG Hunters captain Noel Zemming is urging all youngsters here in Port Moresby to go over to the National Football Stadium this Sunday and support the Hunters' second home game as they take on the South Logan Magpies in the round 14 of the Interest Super Cup. He said rugby league already has a positive influence on these youngsters and it would be good to have them at the stadium cheering for the PNG side to win.
We need all the support we can get, and I think it will be lovely to see the students coming to support us. It's our team, so we have no excuse. If you are free, just come along and cheer for the boys. And yeah, I think it will help motivate the boys to get a win.
The PNG NRL and the PNG RFL conducted a referee workshop to educate locally based referees to lift their standards in refereeing rugby league matches. The workshop was conducted by Richard Johnston with 14 referees taking part.
Richard Johnson is one of the best Australian referee trainers. He has trained many Australian refs that have gone on to ref at higher levels such as the NRL and the Super League in England.
The wrong play at the wrong time for Braden Williami.
And look at Fiji's completion rates in the second half. 4 of 13, 36%. There's your problem.
Richard Johnson says it's another achievement that paves the way for local referees. He also says PNG referees can ref at the international level but will need more clinics. He further added that it is vital to conduct referee clinics in rural areas as well. Holding clinics in rural areas will help young people who want to take up match refereeing build their skills and understanding of refereeing.
Wrong gear there, back to his fullback. Phillips kicks, chases, meaties.
Elijah Levitt, National EMTV Sports.
And that ends Trukai Sports for today. Up next, the weather details for the next 24 hours. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
Here's a look at the weather for the next 24 hours in the southern region. Port Moresby, Daru, Kerma, mostly fine. Alotau, fine, and then some showers later on. Some thunderstorms and then fine weather expected in Popondetta. To the Momasa region, thundery showers expected in Ley and Wau, a few showers in Madang, showers and thunderstorms for Wewak and Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, a few showers expected in Lorengau, mostly fine in Kavieng, Kokopo and Rabaul, a few showers in Kimbe, and light showers in Buka. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg, some showers with morning fog. A look at the forecast for small ships for the next 24 hours. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island, to Kerma, Yule Island, Hood Point to Samarai Island, seas 1 to 2 meters. Waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands with waters of Samarai Island to Cape Bogle, Finchafen, waters of Manus and its western group of islands, and waters of New Britain to east to New Ireland and Bougainville, sea 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Waters of Finchafen through Whittier Strait to Long Island, including CSC Island, Dampier Strait, and waters of Long Island to Madang, Bogia, Wewak, Aitape, Vanimo, and the northern PNG Indonesian border, seas 1 to 2.5 meters, and waters of West New Ireland, sea 0.5 to 2 meters. And a look at the ocean forecast for PNG areas. Coral Sea and Solomon Sea, seas light to moderate with southeasterly winds at 10 to 16 knots. Bismarck Sea, seas moderate with southeasterly winds at 10 to 25 knots with gusts. And Pacific Ocean, seas light with southeasterly winds at 7 to 10 knots. And that ends the news, sports and weather for today, Thursday, the 9th of June 2016. On behalf of the EMTV News team, enjoy your viewing. Good night.